So my work, I'm a computer scientist, finishing up my PhD at Harvard, and I develop AI methods to make decisions for planetary health challenges. So some of you might already be familiar, but the term planetary health refers to this intersection of human health and the health of our planet, recognizing that our livelihood and well-being really depends on the state and livelihood of ecosystems in the planet around us. In my research, I focused on both ends of the planetary health spectrum, on maternal mortality, working with a nonprofit in India to deliver effective interventions for expecting mothers in India to reduce maternal mortality rates. And on conservation, working with conservation nonprofits to plan patrols in protected areas worldwide to help prevent poaching. And the unifying question surrounding these topics is that of how to optimally allocate limited resources, because at planetary scale challenges, we never really have enough information, and the decisions we have to make are always at big scale and complexity. And two specific challenges that we have are the decisions that we have to make are very high stakes. So we can't afford to make poor decisions, and also high complexity because they're large, they oftentimes have combinatorial or other complex constraints. But unfortunately, the data that we have available to inform those decisions are incomplete, biased, and costly to collect. So my research agenda focuses on how to most effectively make good decisions with limited data. And I think about this on this pipeline from data to decisions. So beginning with data from these domains, from conservation to public health and others, and figuring out how we can proactively collect more data to build good machine learning methods. And one of the key challenges here is developing methods that will converge faster with fewer samples of data, enabling us to make better decisions in a shorter time horizon of data gathering. And then after we have a good model of the environment, then we want to figure out how to translate that into actionable decisions on the ground. So that often takes the form of sequential decisions, recognizing that our actions today change the state of the world tomorrow. And it's very important that these decisions be robust and tractable to the large scale we have. And then after we've taken some action, we want to understand how effective our actions are on the ground. And oftentimes this requires, we would like to have causal inference to get a more robust conclusions about the impact of our actions. And finally, we would like to be able to work with local partners to actually deploy these methods in the ground. So throughout my PhD, I've published papers across all aspects of this pipeline, really hoping to showcase that being immersed in real world problems gives rise to new methodological challenges that we can address as computational researchers, because for better or worse, existing AI methods are insufficient to address the kind of challenges that we face. And my work can be broadly organized into these two themes of conservation and maternal health. So to also just give a taste of my approach to research, I like to be really immersed in the problems in which I'm working. So this is the practice side that Colin, I think, was referring to. So I've had the privilege of going on field visits to protected areas across Cambodia, Belize, and Uganda, where I've gone on patrol with rangers, talked with protected area managers to understand the priorities and constraints, and work with government authorities to help translate these ideas into policy implications. Okay, so I'll begin by zooming in on my work on biodiversity conservation, and specifically that of poaching prevention. So poaching is unfortunately a very rampant challenge. This is an article from The Guardian last year about Murchison Falls National Park in Uganda. And here's a team of rangers in front of this mountain of snares that they collected from this park in a single calendar year. So every one of the little wire circles here is a trap that poachers place in this protected area to try to catch everything from elephants to deer to lions. And ecologists have estimated that there are 4 snares for every square kilometer in the park. And this is a 5,000 square kilometer park, so that means there's 20,000 snares around. But unfortunately, we have very limited resources, and there's only 250 rangers available to conduct patrols and prevent poaching. So the question is, where can we send these rangers to most effectively find snares? And the information that we have from Richardson Falls come in the form of these ranger patrol observations, which record biodiversity signs and poaching observations. And my work develops machine learning methods to take in this ranger data, figure out where they've been, where they found poaching, add to that geographic information that typically comes from remote sensing sources, and use that to build predictive models to try to predict where poaching is happening in the future, particularly in areas that have been infrequently explored by rangers. And this helps them identify hotspots that they're otherwise missing out on. But then some places have a lot of data that we can use to build models, but then other parks are only beginning to conduct patrols and just don't have very much data available. So we have to think about how can we still take action tomorrow while also collecting more data and improving our model for the future. And for anyone familiar, this might really closely resemble the exploration-exploitation trade-off that is the backbone of online learning, which is another technique within machine learning to help proactively collect data over time. And the online learning method I developed is specifically a multi-embedded algorithm that integrates problem structure in this domain, including decomposable actions, Lipschitz continuous or smooth reward function, and monotonicity in our reward. And our paper offers theoretical guarantees that show that our method is actually able to improve performance in terms of reducing regret compared to state-of-the-art baselines, showing that focusing on these real-world challenges also translates into technical developments later on as well. But then we might start to ask questions like, well, we're thinking right now of a static setting where the probability of poaching is always constant. But because we're working with strategic agents who are human poachers, they might start recognizing a lot of my snares are being taken away. Maybe I should go elsewhere tomorrow. So to answer this question, we began with the data, again, from Richardson Falls in Uganda and Queen Elizabeth National Park to figure out, are poachers actually responding? And if so, what does that look like? And what we found is indeed, the more we patrol in one area, the less poaching is likely to occur in the following month. But if we were to try to develop a model of this behavior, we can try to have some estimate of like poaching declines by 17%, for example. But because our data is imperfect, we can't be too confident that this is a precise estimate. But instead, we might more reliably say that it comes from some range of uncertainty. And this requires robust planning that is recognizing that whole range. So our solution approach here introduces this objective for robust planning known as Minimax, which is borrowed from Minimax regret, which is borrowed from the operations research literature. And it's a very computationally intractable objective to solve for. So we develop a game theoretic approach to search through this problem space more tractably. And we prove that this converges to an optimal strategy. And then we also have extension bringing causal inference to study this question more conclusively, because previously our analysis were just looking at correlational evidence, but we wanted to understand, can we causally say that ranger patrols really do reduce poaching, which we show is indeed the case. And we're excited that this causal evidence can really help lend to potential policy implications justifying the value and potential of ranger patrols to help advocate to funders or government agencies. Okay, and finally, my work has involved really close integration with practitioners on the ground. So I've had the privilege of implementing my machine learning algorithms on the ground in Cambodia and Uganda, where we are trying to evaluate whether or not we're actually identifying new poaching hotspots. And the way we implemented these tests is pick a series of areas that our model predicted to be at high risk of poaching, medium, and low risk, and kept it a blind experiment by not informing the rangers of the risk classification in advance. And what we found is that rangers found many more snares in the high-risk areas than the areas we predicted to be medium or low risk, showing that we're able to effectively discriminate between relative risk of poaching. And then in a subsequent month, when rangers were focused on high-risk areas, they found over 1,000 snares in a single month, which compares to a typical month where they find between 300 or 400 snares. So this is a huge improvement. And we're really excited to get this positive feedback from our collaborators as well, saying, I'm super excited with the results. Let's get this going in other countries too. So that's what I've been doing. I'm partnering with this consortium called SMART, which focuses on protected area management by integrating our models into the software system that they already have that's used by a large number of parks around the world. And this system is currently implemented in Central America, Africa, and Southeast Asia with a large number of different partners. So that is what I wanted to present to you, and my work so far and my agenda moving forward is really developing AI methods with the goal of addressing these kind of planetary health challenges, recognizing that it requires a close integration with the problem domain in order to figure out which challenges should be our top priorities, and then developing the right techniques across machine learning, planning, and sequential decision-making, and causal inference to help get at the outcomes that people on the ground actually want. Thank you.